Welcome, Night Owls, to the Book Club After Dark podcast, an inviting moonlit podcast. I'm your host, Danny.
And I'm Michelle. We review fantasy, romantasy, dark romance, and thriller novels.
All things enchanting, intriguing, suspenseful, and maybe a little spicy.
Each episode features intimate discussions on captivating stories, fan theories, and more. And this is your content warning. This podcast contains mature themes and discussions that may not be suitable for all audiences. Episodes include explicit language and descriptions of mature romance, as well as depictions of violence and other intense subject matter. This podcast is rated R for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Yep. And going forward from here, there are going to be lots of spoilers for Roots of Darkness, which is the novella we're going to be talking about, and then Dawn of the North, which is the latest in the ASHEN series. We'll probably have a couple other comments related to the series as a whole, but we're going to round out the ASHEN series tonight, so consider this your spoiler warning.
Let's get cozy because the best stories are told after dark.
All right, tonight's drink of the episode is for our girl Hecla. It's right here. Yes. And for those listening, we had to do a drink called Taste Colors. So it's called Taste Colors. It is also called Taste of a Shattered Male Ego. All right. So there's two names to this. So we've got two different names. It's very intentional why we have two different names because our girl Hecla deserves a drink because while she is like my favorite side character in this series by far, she's the star of Roots of Darkness, and she has her own novella, and she's fantastic. And her relationship with Ivan and all the things that go on, yeah. So she tastes colors, and also she's a little pissed off. So we love that for her. This is called A Taste of Shattered Male Ego or Taste Colors. It's up to you. What we have in here is orange vodka, orange juice, grenadine, sparkling lime water, and then on the side and inside the glass. So it's kind of like a little bit of like a sparkling tequila sunrise, basically, a little fancier. On the rim of this glass and in the bottom as well, I don't know if you've tried the Nerds Clusters, but we have Nerds Clusters Rainbow. And I was like, that seems colorful to me. And so that's our drink for tonight.
The way Hecla would be tasting the rainbow, the whole Skittles rainbow her motto.
Yes.
The way the whole tasting colors thing.
Nerds gummy clusters.
Ooh.
So that's what I used for these.
The way the whole tasting colors thing was like a focal point for my entire experience of this novel. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? The entire time.
The way you text me, you're like, but he made her taste colors. You were so pissed. I was like,
yes.
Yep. And I had already read Dawn of the North. So I was like, I
don't want to say it even gets better in Dawn of the North, but if I was not reading on my phone, I would have thrown that book out the window. Like, how dare you, Demi? And like that. I was so mad. But we'll talk more about that when we talk about our ratings and everything about the story. I love the drink idea. I love how it's layered in colors. So like for our listeners that are on YouTube, it's like layered. It's really pretty.
Yes. And then so you get the candy bonus at the bottom, and then you get a good amount of candy on the side. But yeah, there you go. Hecla's my fave. I think we all know that by now.
I feel like she described the taste of yellow and it wasn't orange though. It was like honey. I think she described some colors. I was like, oh, okay. That's good to know.
She has a full out of body experience.
Listen.
Well, she had a time. And then he went and was betrothed. Anyway, all right, tonight we're diving into Roots of Darkness and Dawn of the North by Demi Winters. So whether you're reading along with us or just here for the book talk, we're glad you're here. We're also going to round out our episode, as we always do, with an update for one of our Down the Rabbit Hole segments we've done before, a little more information that we've discovered and things that have popped off since we last discussed AI. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we'll round things out, as we always do, with mystery Q&A and what we have coming up next. So let's do it.
So we're going to do Roots of Darkness first because it's book 2.5. And then we're going to do our star ratings, spice ratings, and then some discussion questions, and then hop on over to Dawn of the North. So with Roots of Darkness, star ratings here. This is 5-star, just for me. Easy 5-star, hands down. The characters, I love Hecla. I loved Hecla before this, and the fact that we get more of her character and just her snarkiness, and then Ivan, and I love how Ivan's not a shadow daddy. We talked a little bit about shadow daddies and being a little, how some people on the internet think they're overplayed, which I don't think they're overplayed, but I like how we have a mix up here now. We have our little beast boy, we have a shadow daddy, and now we have like
Beast
our
boy.
fire, our fire bringer.
Okay.
So, you know, we have a different magic system here, and I loved how the lore just keeps going deeper and deeper with this book, and we get really into more of the villain and how the villain isn't just a single entity. Like, yes, there's the villain that's the king and queen, but it's deeper than that. There's more going on and more at play here with the gods.
Mirkor and the god. You got a bunch of shit going on. Yeah.
So easy 5-star for me. Especially, we have our talking squirrel. I'm sorry, Kritka. The fact that we have a talking squirrel here, I'm like, yes.
I love Kritka.
And how Kritka refers to him in the third person. So
yeah,
it's
hilarious.
Easy 5-star. What about you?
You already knew. This is one of the best novellas I've ever read. It's in the same vein as Krista Broadbent for me. And those who have listened know how big a fan of hers we are. We love her to death. So it is on that same level of a must read. You need to read this novella. It is not one you want to skip. It's not one you want to skip because while you could read Demi's recap if you wanted to in the Dawn of the North, and it would kind of get you caught up to a certain degree, you really miss very key character development for Hecla and Ivan, and you're just not going to get that without reading this book. You're also going to miss really key magic elements that you, again, would not get in terms of plot from skipping 2.5. So if you have already read this series and you skipped over Roots of Darkness, and it's interesting because on the Kindle, it's weird. It actually puts Roots of Darkness separate. It puts the ASHEN series, like all of the 3 books together. And then Roots of Darkness doesn't come up as if it's part of the series. It comes up as a standalone novella. But it's definitely 2.5. Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't show up the same in the Kindle versus the...
I wonder why.
But anyway, I don't know why. Formatting or who knows why. But technically you could read it on its own, but you'd be hella confused if you just read that by itself. Whereas with Chris Broadbent's novella, right? With Chris Broadbent's novellas, you could literally read those as separate worlds. On their own. I feel like you could. But with this one, I don't think you get it. It really is a 2.5. It's in the middle. It makes sense to read it with the other novels. But yeah, absolutely agree with you. Easy 5 stars for me. If I had to rank these books, I really feel like it's up there in terms of the whole series for me.
Really? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I like what she
does. Just she shortened and condensed something that was already a world that was really difficult. And she made it engaging and dark, but the level of depth is there. She just did a great job with it. And one of my favorite novellas now is Roots of Darkness by far. I thought it was great. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
It's really a testament to her talent, how much she can develop these characters in such a small span of pages. It's really a short book. It was like done in a day. So she's a fantastic author. So let's get into spice, because you had mentioned before I started this series, or I was in book 1, and we talked about how it was slow burn. Road of Bones is slow. We're talking about snail speed or Loth from Zootopia. And it progressively just gets more spicy and spicy. Yeah. So here we have more than 2 scenes. And I like the complexity of the spice scenes is just so layered, because it comes back around multiple chapters, because it's how she layers time in this book. So this one's definitely spicier. Kingdom of Claw, I would say it leans more into the four peppers, just because of the frequency and how it's really integral to the characters, because they start out just as a hookup, and then Hecla and Ivan start out as a hookup, and then
it's a one-night stand.
Behold, they didn't even know each other's names. They was supposed to be it.
They're
taste
literally
colors
rolling
and that's it.
around. Yeah, they're rolling around
in the river.
river.
And with this entire time, I'm like, no one's hearing this because she says how she's not quiet.
No, they're not modest.
I'm like, wait, we are just down by the river, and
she's just down by the river.
There's
but
people.
This is what I love about Hecla. She like does not give a fuck at all. No,
and like their first interaction,
and they're like warriors. They're just like, we're just gonna get this energy out right here in the dirt. Let's do it.
But their first interaction is like because she has her robotic hand, or not robotic, but mechanical hand. And she takes it off and like hits him with it. Yeah. So like their first interaction is like her, I don't know. It's funny how she uses her arm as like a form of disarming her opponents, and catches completely off guard. And they're just like having a good old time, like showing each other strength and kind of wrestling in a way. And then they end up fucking, and that goes on for multiple chapters because Hecla is like constantly having to relive like, this is the guy that have to pretend that I don't know to save my dignity, but I can't stop thinking about him because he made me taste green,
yellow, and orange, and yes,
all the colors of the rainbow. So this is definitely a 4. I think it would lean more into a 4 spicy. It's not a 5. Because they don't really do anything taboo that would hit that. So 4 for me.
I agree, it's a 4. And I also think that in the short span of this book, it's mentioned so much because, and we actually, next week we're talking to Demi Winters, so spoiler alert, we actually talked to her about this, that Hecla is a grown-ass woman who's previously married, okay? She has a history, and she's not afraid to talk about any of these topics. She's not afraid to think about them. She's not, like, that's not a thing for her. And I also think that speaks to why it's a little bit spicier. She's older than our 2 female main characters in the other 2 novels. She's vastly more experienced. And she knows who she is. She's very much knows who she is. She doesn't need to go and learn. She kind of reminds me when we talked about the Poison Daughter and how that was significantly spicier as well. She's a lot like Harlow. She's probably close in age to Harlow, definitely older, than Scylla and Saga, and she's vastly more experienced than the both of them. And that you get that right away from her point of view, and how she speaks, how she handles herself, how she carries herself, how she wants to command respect as a female in the world that she's in. And what I really like is actually her lack of arm is never really seen as her being lesser than, because what she's replaced it with is so fucking brutal that it's like even more intense than if she had the arm. And because it's magical, it like got, hooks onto her as if it were her own arm anyway. And I think there's a less of a focus on the fact that she has this mechanical arm, and more of a focus on because she's a female, and is she going to get this? Is she going to chronically have to, have this level of respect with Ivan now that he like knows the truth and they know who each other are, and just this whole dynamic is full of tension, very well written, the whole time, and her other beau, who she's like, really, bro? Seriously, we're still interested? Like, the ship has sailed.
Gunnar, the ending with Gunnar, because you feel
the way I felt so bad for him, but also I was like, sir, like she has moved on, my friend.
What I like is how Demi explores the different types of grief that has been happening, because remember, they're grieving Jonas, but they're also grieving the death of Jonas's brother. So there's a lot of different layers, and these are their family, and Hecla has to be in charge now. She has to suck her shit up and lead the Blood X crew.
Blood X crew's a mess. They're not in a place.
Gunnar is very distraught, and he's like, just not himself anymore. He shuts himself in his little cabin thingy, and she has to like, make excuses because that's a sign of weakness, and the Blood X crew can't have any weakness. So she then carries this guilt of Gunnar is actually talking, and he's making jokes now, and am I going to be the one that destroys him yet again? I can't bear that weight. So the scenes with him were really heavy because before they were fuck buddies. That's what they were, just casual sex, and that was normal for them. So Gunnar is trying to just go back to norm, and he doesn't realize because he's been so inside himself that Hekla has feelings for someone else. So he hasn't been as observant with her. And
then he's trying to say that he's in love with her and that it's more than that. And oh, you should marry me and let's just get married, Hekla, and move on. He's also doesn't really want to go back to being fuck buddies either. He doesn't want no strings attached. He's like ready to have something more serious with her.
But I think that's more of stability than like, I'm dyingly in love with you. It's not like, correct. I feel like it's more familiar than like romantic in a way. Yes, obviously with being married, they'd have sex and all that stuff. But I feel like it's just more for comfort because he needs that comfort and realizes that he's found so much in that in Hekla. So why not make it stable? It seems more of almost a defense mechanism in of itself for him to have that solidified. So no one else he loves is like taken from him.
I was just going to say that part, that it's about his way of dealing with grief. Less about Hekla and more about like, how can I protect the last person that I'm really close to and make sure nothing happens to her? We can run away and get married. And she's like, the fuck are you talking about? In what world was that ever going to be me? Like, she's like, I already did that and I killed him because he was violent and abusive and almost killed me and took my arm. And I'm never going back to being a domestic wife like that again. Like, that's not happening. And you've known that. So like, what, and Hekla realizes too. You see her points of views chapter, the same thing. She like doesn't want to crush him because she has this guilt of, and then she's got this whole like sleeping with the enemy thing because of Ivan. And so she has a lot of complexity of like, I just hooked up with this guy, but it was supposed to just be like meaningless. And like now she has to act like it was meaningless, but it definitely wasn't. And that doesn't even introduce the Mist or Krikta or like any of the other things that are going on in this condensed novella. There's just so much happening with all of this tension and all of the ways that Demi's just very good at writing characters with massive amounts of depth. And that makes you want to keep reading because the complexity with these characters feels so palpably real that it feels immersive. That experience of like, I feel like I'm walking along with Hekla as she's going through her day-to-day. And she makes you laugh too. Like, she's funny as fuck.
She's hilarious.
Oh my God. They're all hilarious. They're one-liners. And like, there's a lot of, even with the level of darkness in this series and the topics, there's a lot of humor. There's a lot of parts that I like laughed out loud. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? Girl. Or just comments that she makes or whoever. Yeah.
You have undead things locked in a barn. Of course, we're going to have some comedy because a bunch of shit's happening. We have Mist that's literally turning your horse into a zombie. I'm going to make some jokes because real world is kind of grim. So let's talk about that. So now let's transition into talking about the magic system because a lot happened in this book and the entire world expands, even though they're only technically in Isildur and the Western Woods. But there's a lot going on here. We have these new undead creatures. We have this mist. We have this tree. We have the talking animal who can turn into other things. And then we have a more active role in the gods. So what was your favorite aspect of this expansion? What did you find most intriguing as you were going through this and found the world develop even more?
Yeah, we get forest walkers, which are basically these moving tree things. We get all these different things, which, by the way, if you go to our website, you can see all the images of different things that you can see here. But I really like the Western Woods. I liked the journey that we went on with her. I liked that we knew timeline-wise where we were and what was happening with the sisters, but it gave context to the entire story of what was going on with the Blood Axe crew and with Hekla when all the training and everything was going on. Because this reminder that this does not take place with Dawn of the North. This actually takes place at the same time as Kingdom of Claw. So you're trying to figure out where the timelines fit in. The timeline for this one is it overlaps with where Kingdom of Claw is taking place, and you have Ray and Scylla and all the things that are going on up north. At the same time, poor Hecla's over here trying to figure out what the fuck's going on in the Western Woods. And all of this starts to converge in the next book, which is Dawn of the North. And then it'll, converge even more when we get to book 4, which we don't have a title for yet. But all that to say, I really enjoyed going into the woods more. But what I really liked is I actually thought the horror element of the zombies and the mist was really cool. I liked how well done that was. And I thought that it gave this like old, haunted, spooky story, true horror story elements. It could very easily be its own like horror story on top of what's happening, because it's like a zombie mist that's taking over this town, these little towns inside the Western Woods. And there's Eastray and all of the little town this is all on the Road of Bones that we already kind of journeyed down. But when you look at the map, you can identify where things are a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, that was probably my favorite part. Is I actually really enjoyed the understanding of the mist a little bit more, because you got a lot more depth. But I like the horror. I thought it was horror. There is a lot of horror to this book in such a short amount of time. And I really enjoyed understanding the mist a lot better and getting some depth to that story that you otherwise wouldn't get if you don't read this novella. You'll just glaze over it. You get a little bit, but you don't really get the full background as to why it's so impactful. You don't understand the full meaning behind Dawn of the North without Roots of Darkness.
Agreed. You don't get the zombies, the undead. They literally take on this new personality, but the god can inhabit them, and they become conscious too. And it's creepy because all of a sudden they're like trying to eat some random shit in their little barn that they're like chained in, and then all of a sudden, wait a minute, don't smell the same. They get this sort of consciousness that's like, what the fuck? I like how on top of the horror element, she also speaks again towards the corruption of government, and how you have the lord essentially of this town.
Oh, that's right.
And he's like, I bargained with the mist, or I bargained, and they said that
the arrogance.
If I just leave the town and welcome you in, everything's going to be fine. I'm like, when do we bargain with the villain? When has that ever worked out in our favor? I don't understand.
And but like, to your point about the system in place with the bear god and all of that, they are arrogant as fuck. So they're these just, and speaking on sexism and all that, it's this idea of he's like, well, I told it, so therefore it is. Like, what?
And I think that was that was so frustrating for Hekla, because she's viewed as an equal within the Blood Axe crew. But then she comes here and you have this arrogant ass guy on this dinky little throne, and no one wants to listen to her because she's a woman. And that was frustrating for me as a reader too. I'm like, she is so fucking strong, and you're not from here, and you're a woman, so you haven't earned your place yet. I'm just like, but they won't let her earn her place either in the fighting. That do you remember that little? It wasn't like a tournament, but it was like a little fighting.
Yeah,
that they were doing.
Like,
she wasn't even
Ivan
allowed to participate.
And that's where I wanted to ask you, what were your thoughts on Ivan handling all of that and like getting that perspective of him? Because you were pretty heated at a moment.
He was the entire time. He was he I understand that he had to balance expectations of my family and I'm trying to navigate this political system and blah, 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 blah. But he came off as a little bitch half the time, more than half the time.
He should have just, he has the
he
miscommunication
literally has
trope.
your favorite trope. Absolutely. Because he was like he was working with Hecla, unknowing, not letting her know that he was like doing his little thing behind closed doors, trying to support her. It's like, bro, just tell her you believe her and that you have this plan set out. Like, instead of letting her run off with her horse and poor horse gone, I feel like the ending would have been a little bit more anticlimactic if they actually communicated. God forbid communication happening with people. So I understand it was to build tension. However, he was infuriating. And then at the end, when he's like, he's betrothed, I'm like, you cannot make her taste colors and be betrothed to someone else. And like, literally,
for those listening, Michelle sent me a text in capital letters that said, "But he made her taste colors," and I was like, "Oh, know exactly."
She got to the end.
Yes. And you're like, but I'm so glad I don't have to wait to read the next book. I was like, yeah, thank God.
I would have been infuriated because how could that ending? It just ends. Book just ends. And Gunnar proposing, and then Ivan is betrothed. I'm just like, what the fuck? What the fuck, Demi? Why? But thankfully, I have book 2 loaded up on the Kindle already. So the next book loaded up.
Yes.
On my Kindle. So it was fine.
The beauty of Kindle Unlimited, but also the beauty of just having the instant gratification of having the book available right there. The one thing that I thought was interesting about this book too, along with the miscommunication trope, is while we can blame Ivan, Hecla's definitely at fault here too. She's fucking pissed, and she's like, I'm gonna show weakness, again with the sexism trope. I'm not gonna show weakness by groveling to you to have this romance or expect that because we hooked up, oh, you owe me something, or that I'm even still attracted to you. She like didn't even want to admit it to herself. And it's an interesting way that her character arc, which is why I kind of allowed the miscommunication trope and it didn't bother me as much as it normally would, is because the reason for her miscommunication trope, kind of very similar to Ray, is their trauma. Is that they've experienced so much trauma in their life that for them to be able to get through it is for them to dwell on it a little bit more and take a little bit more time and work through those things. And so while I could blame Ivan for being a dick, which he was, it was also part her, where she needed to work through that herself and start admitting things to herself. And he gets, in the next book, Dawn of the North, he gets fucking pissed at her and is just like, you need to freaking say something right now. I'm done and over with you and your nonsense. And they go through the river and the whole bit. But before that, in this book, Roots of Darkness, she really hasn't had the opportunity to work through anything other than, she didn't feel love for Gunnar. She hasn't loved anyone since her ex-husband. So this is her first like moment of really having to have romantic feelings for someone. And of course they can't be easy. They have to be hard as fuck and complicated and force her to look in the mirror a little bit. And that's uncomfortable. And I think we see that with her character, of how her story just really goes through, she goes through it. Poor girl. She really just goes through it in that. But what were your thoughts on her piece of that?
I like how she uses humor as her defense mechanism, because the entire time she's making fun of Ivan's fucking annoying cape that is bright red. And
the
like,
red
why?
One. That's also why I had this drink, because it's layered with red. I was like, well, there you go.
Yeah, you have to. And obviously it becomes important later on why he has a stupid fucking red cape.
Yes.
But it forces her, this entire story forced her to be intimate, in a sense. Like, you can be intimate, have sex without being actually intimate. And it forced her to actually be intimate with someone. And that's hard for someone who's experienced trauma especially at the level that she has. I like how Demi explored that that facing your trauma and allowing yourself to be intimate with someone and really open yourself up to someone is a scary thing, but it's something that you need to do to fully heal. Because I feel like going through that
and at
trauma,
any age.
Yeah.
At any age. You don't have to be.
No, and it's not right away either, because this is years later. It shows that trauma healing isn't linear. Things come up. You have to really explore that yourself to heal. And she also gets the benefit of tasting colors. So I'm really stuck on that. Like, how do you get this out of body experience where you get to taste fucking colors?
Magic, my girl. Magic. Yeah. Let's talk about Krikta and the talking squirrel and the mist, and where we think Hekla falls into that whole storyline of purpose and what we see in the next book. What were your thoughts on that?
I like how, if you didn't read Roots of Darkness, things that happen in Dawn of the North wouldn't make sense at all. Because in Roots of Darkness, Kritka is like,
you just have to allow it. In Dawn of the North, you just have to be like, okay, we're just gonna go with this. You don't. But I'm not saying you couldn't. You could. You just really
need the full experience.
Well. No, you're not even close.
You need the full experience, and because Kritka refers to her as, was it the master? He refers to her as that multiple times. Like, you're the person that is supposed to free the tree spirit. That is you. You are that person, and he is dead set on that the entire time. And you find out in Dawn of the North, it's because she's been close to Scylla. So she has her scent on her. And because the Kritka also comments that, wait a minute, Ray also smells like this. And that doesn't make sense, because there's supposed to be only one. You're the one person that's supposed to help us out. So, and that interaction wouldn't have made sense if you didn't read Roots of Darkness. So I like how it was needed to set up, really fully expand on what a tree is. It's not just some random ass tree in the middle of the woods. It is essentially a goddess living inside the tree, and there's two of them, and Kritka's like, you need to free one. Lo and behold, oh wait, there's another one. You have to free the other one too. Sneaky, leaving out information. So
what about the spiders, Michelle?
I'm tired of these fucking spiders. Listen, I am so over spiders. Anathema, Eldritch, this fucking book, and I love Hekla because she says the same damn thing. She's like, I'm tired of these fucking spiders. She hates spiders. So she's my girl, kindred spirit. I'm also I finished my reread of Throne of Glass, and when there's fucking spiders in that too. God.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of these giant ass spiders. Why can't we have normal sized spiders? Why can't we have, I have been going on a self-healing journey by doing exposure therapy, by watching spider reels, trying to get over this bullshit. And
brave.
It is, because there are these jumping spiders that actually look animated. They're called jumping spiders. There's actually a really cute Disney short about like a jumping spider, and they're like, they have two big eyes, and they look kind of animated. So they're like cute, if you would call a spider cute.
Really?
Yeah, and they have little personalities. And so I'm like doing exposure therapy. Okay, let me look at the spider. The spider's fine. And then I read these books, and they're these giant ass spiders like running at you at all times. I'm tired of it. No more spiders.
Okay.
Can we have a book without spiders? That is my next request. Books without spiders.
I think we can do that. I think our next book is harvest season, and I don't think Bryn is gonna mess up spiders for us. I think she'll mess up some other foods, but not spiders. It's not a food. So I think I think we're in the clear for that. But before we go to Dawn of the North, one thing one thing I wanted to talk about before we wrap to Dawn of the North, and related to this overarching theme that Demi Winters does very well, is each of her characters has these levels of trauma. This book focuses a lot on sexism, overcoming misogyny, overcoming sexism that's existed for years and years and years, and just the way that she does this and how she works through her trauma. We know it ends on a cliffhanger that's not fun for Hecla, and we know we get a lot more of that story in Dawn of the North and the understanding of why that is and all of that. But a couple of the quotes that I really liked from this book, from Hecla in particular, here's one from chapter 12, page 90. Fuck every patronizing man who disregarded her opinion because she lacked a certain appendage, who brushed off her passion and called her temperamental, who told her to smile as though she needed to change herself to put them at ease. Fuck them all. Yes. And that's our girl right there. That's our girl.
I need that on a shirt.
What? Literally. Which part? Fuck them all or something else?
Just the whole thing. The whole thing.
And then she has one more quote where, not towards the end all the way, but she made a quote about, it's hard to learn that sometimes those we love most are undeserving. And I think she feels this way about Ivan again, where this massive betrayal is happening within her. And she just can't reckon and come to terms with the fact that she's done it to herself again. She feels like she cannot choose a good guy to save her life, this poor woman. You know, she was in an abusive marriage, a man who deliberately and multiple times had a drinking problem, beat her, just very brutally treated her for a number of years before she finally struck up the courage and fought back, ultimately losing her arm and, killed him in self-defense. And then she just becomes this incredible warrior, blood axe crew. She's like, I'm not going to let anyone get close to me. All the things, Ivan in the moment says everything any girl would want to hear. And you as a reader are like fucking pissed too. Because I was, and you clearly were too, at Ivan. And it also points to Demi Winters' ability to get you emotionally tied in and feel like Hecla got betrayed by him. And what the fuck is going on with Ivan? And get it together, sir. Like, what are we even doing?
How dare you,
And the
sir.
way you go, you go into Dawn of the North like, that guy.
That guy. Like, oh. Yeah. In Dawn of the North, we'll get into that. But yeah, in Dawn of the North, you go in so upset with Ivan. You feel for Gunnar. They literally have a pissing contest half the book.
Of course.
And then there's still the miscommunication. For the majority of the book, there's still that miscommunication trope. And I didn't find it as frustrating as I normally would. And maybe it's because Demi...
You had all these other points of view in Dawn of the North. We had a lot going on in Dawn of the North. With Saga's journey. And there's so many multiple points of view. And that's one thing, is like, you never get a single point of view. There's no one point of view. There's always multiple points of view in Demi's books, which help you to really have a better reader understanding of how we feel about each character. And it develops the storyline so much more.
And I think the miscommunication trope was allowed for me too, even though it doesn't bother me as much. It does bother me in certain books because I actually understood. I wouldn't talk to you either, sir. This is where, because we as readers, Demi intentionally
what you mean, like after?
Yes, after Roots of Darkness.
Like when say like
intentionally.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
She left out the information that, oh wait, he's not actually, but it's not. I don't know. It's not as clear cut as just he's betrothed. It's not really how it works in what his actual relationship with that one girl is. And because Demi left that out, we as readers were pissed too. But I feel like the miscommunication trope in Iron Flame, that was infuriating because we knew both sides of the story at that point in time. And you're like, just fucking talk. Just fucking talk at this point in time. So the fact that we didn't have all the information allowed for that trope to go on further. And so I feel like that's a good segue into Dawn of the North, though.
It is. Yeah. Let's do it. Give me your star rating.
All right. So star rating. I'm still pissed that there is no map because we're in Zagadka.
Oh, for Pete's sakes. All right.
I'm so mad.
I knew I was going to hear this.
Okay. But hear me out. That's part of the setting, right? That's a part of the immersive setting. We don't get as much of a description of Zagadka because Saga venture out very much until the very end. In the end, she does venture out outside the castle. So I feel like a map is intentionally part of the setting. That is my argument for the necessity of a map when you're in the location for the majority of the book.
It is not part of your ratings chart, Miss
But, okay, I'm going to argue that so if you look at my ratings chart, if you go lower on the star rating, yes, but if you go lower on the star ratings,
which for those listening, it is available on our Instagram. It's pinned. It's at the top of our chart should you desire to look at this yourself.
So if you go to 1 star rating, it says, where is a map? Under parentheses, where even are we? Where is a map? So the necessity of a map is implied.
You added that.
I did not. You can go, I have not. That is in the original, is in the Instagram. So I did not argue that last episode. And then I thought about it because I was like, maybe Danny was right. Maybe I was being a little too caught up on this map. But then I was like, wait a minute. I know I put where's the map ? Somewhere on this thing. So because it is implied. I'm only going to take off 1. I'm taking out 0.1. It's a 4.9. I just wanted a fucking map.
Okay.
I feel like that's a part of the setting. Everything else is perfect. The fact that we get more of Cassander and his...
Of course, your boy is like the main focus of this one.
Oh, yeah. So I love my Beast
naturally.
Boy. And I
do like him, though. Not gonna lie.
And
he's great.
You understand the complexity of his family, too. His family's a piece of work.
Yeah.
A piece of work.
Understand.
So 4.9 for stars for me.
Yeah.
So what about you?
I'm gonna go 4.9 as well for the map. I'm gonna agree with you.
Oh, now we're okay. You were just giving me shit.
Obviously, but also like I feel like it's a 5 overall. I mean, I wouldn't ding it in general. We don't really do in terms of your star rating here. I knew where we were. I knew we were across the water. I wish I had a map, but I was okay without it. And I think that it would have been helpful to have, but also the points of view, the amount of characters that are involved in this, the immersive setting, where we go on this journey, how all these things, a lot of loose ends start to tie. We start to see little glimpses of it, and like new things open up with the Queen, with Jonas. Like, it's just so many things happen that are like side quests that are within this book. The number of we have like 4 different stories that are all kind of going to be set to converge in the next book, in book 4, that really start to develop in full in this book. And it's like everything we've read to now was just like to get us to here so that we could get to book 4. And the way that I closed that book, it was like, when is book 4 release? Because I needed to know. And it turns out Demi Winters is writing it, so it's not happening yet. No. We don't even have a release date, but we know when you listen to our interview, we may know something about it. So you can wait till next week and listen to that. But in the meantime, we had a great time. I had a great time. It just, I needed to finish it. I couldn't put it down. I had to finish it. I needed to know what happened. 5 stars. So yeah, I mean, we could do the point for the map, but ultimately I'm okay with that. I'm also okay with it from the thought that for Demi, this series being picked up is her first series to ever get picked up. And for that reason, we have to remind ourselves of budgets. And maybe she could only get 1 map. And they're like, no, girl, where's your main world? Yeah, we're not doing any more maps. This is the map that you're getting. And so for that reason, I'm like, all right, I'll give the 5. We'll give the 5. So I changed my rating. I said 4.9. I'm going to give the 5. I'm going to give the 5 stars.
Being generous.
There we go.
There we go.
I am. Generous? Right. It's a 4.9 point. It's a 1/10 of a point. So bad. Okay. All right, spices. Let's do it. Let's do the peppers.
Let's do spice. Okay.
Spice rating.
4, because this is continues to be spicy for sure.
Oh, yes.
More than a couple of chapters.
Significantly spicier. And then let's talk about the angst and the leading up to and all the suggestions of spice. Woo! And then our guy, woo, Cass, woo, he's a spicy man. He's got lots of spice going on.
Yes.
And
he is a man that knows what he wants, and he is very, very just...
Yes.
forthright. He's very forthright on what he wants. I feel like a lot of it, for the reader, you're shocked by it because I get shocked by it because Saga's a
but he's
virgin.
okay with a little taboo stuff. I feel like in book 4, we're gonna get a little bit more taboo in book 4. I can feel it. I feel like
what kind of?
We're gonna get a little,
what are we thinking?
I don't know. I feel like between Ray and Scylla, we've got the shadow dowdy thing happening. We got some taboo stuff going on. If that were like in our world, that would be ropes or what. That'd definitely be like in that type of. That's a little bit more taboo or kink or what have you. So that's definitely in the 4 for us. I don't think we'll ever get to 5. Demi Winters just isn't that type of writer. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just don't see taboo topics being explored in depth because I feel like her fantasy piece in that world is going to take over more. It's going to overpower the story versus focusing more on taboo topics, which I would be a fan of both personally, but neither here nor there. This was definitely a 4. I agree with you.
For sure.
It's a 4.
All right. Now that we've talked about spice, let's get into more discussion about the plot. So the beginning of the book, you are slapped in the face with Signy and her grief, Ursa's funeral, really the complex nature of her relationship with her children, her relationship with her husband, because you get a lot more of her perspective in this book. So how did you feel about really feeling the weight of Signy's emotions from the beginning?
I really liked having Signy's point of view. I think that changed how I felt about her as a character overall. And we talked about this a little bit last episode, that I actually like Signy as a villain because I think she's incredibly complex and you have to really step out of what she has going on and say to yourself, would I be like her? And I think that that's a valid question when you start to think about what she's been through and her trauma. And again, Demi Winters does this fantastic job of the complexity of trauma and what it does to a person and how an individual person can or can't react and what does that look like. And I think she's just really done her research on what that looks like in different people and how that can manifest. And I think Signy doesn't want to lose something she's waited so long to finally have, which is power. And I also think that she doesn't know what her world looks like without that. And that's terrifying for her. What happens if she loses this power, if she's dethroned? What happens? That's just not something she's willing to even entertain or give time to. So I really enjoyed having her background. What about you?
I agree because her story is a story of survival. And if we didn't get her perspective, we wouldn't understand that. We wouldn't understand that, she was also a victim in her village and she made choices, questionable ones, to ensure her survival. Did she push her sister? How'd her sister die? That was obscure.
Was it?
Meh.
I'm not saying she's good. Let me be very clear. I never said that she was innately good, but she's an excellent villain. Yes.
For sure. But you empathize with her because you understand her story is that of survival. She would have, if she didn't do what she had to do, she would have already been dead or worse. So she picked the lesser of the evil, and her entire time as queen has been really fighting to get power back in some way, shape, or form because the king fucking sucks. He is a dick. Obviously, you hate him from Scylla and Saga's perspective because what he did with their family, but the fact that he gave zero fucks about Ursa and her funeral, literally Signy's devastated about the funeral with her sending off her daughter. And I liked that because I don't know if did you watch the show, the Vikings show? When it came out
a while ago. Yeah,
it was pretty old, but that's how funerals went. You put them on a boat,
and then you send them off, and then push them out. Yes,
and you set them on fire and offering to the god, and safe to Valhalla. And so I liked that aspect and seeing that part of Viking culture, which was really fun talking to Demi about how she got inspired for that aspect of her book. But yeah, the king sucks. The entire time he's like, all right, now I gotta plan my revenge. She's dead. And I'm like, that was your daughter. And that, again, that shows more sexism.
Yeah.
The son's still alive.
It's not his son,
it's
so not as valuable.
Yeah.
Right.
So I really hated the king. I really understood her motives. Did I agree with them? No, but I understood them. So that, I feel like that's what makes a good villain. You can empathize with their actions, even though they're completely wrong. And you're like,
but what about Jonas?
I evil? Okay. Jonas. Okay. Do we think
I've been waiting to talk to you about Jonas. I've been waiting until you read this book to talk about Jonas, because the way that I talked about this like 2 episodes a little bit, I couldn't really get into what Jonas becomes. And well, how he ends up in Signy's bed. I just the whole situation, I was reading it just like flabbergasted, like, what the fuck? How did we get here? So Jonas almost dies, and then he goes on his merry way with his line of betrayal, and he gets like kidnapped and brought into this like warrior thing, because he like Queen Signy's like, you're gonna go over here, because he wanted to show his loyalty. I'm gonna tell you about all these things. She's like, yeah, okay, here, you're gonna go over to this other camp thing that I've got underground with these other things that might eat you and kill you and stuff. So, we'll see what happens with you. And so he goes, and he's so full of like rage that he wants to like avenge his brother and family and all this, that he lives, and then ends up, she like selects him and is like, yeah, you can come in my bed. And that's like the very short version of the whole thing that happens here. There's a lot more to this. But in short, this is how we get the 2 villains literally together, because the whole time you have the Jonas plot line, and then you have the Queen. They're very separate. The idea that they were going to converge, I did not predict that. What about you?
I didn't either. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so he's this corpse breaker now. Whatever the fuck that is. He's going to be essentially a weapon. Cool. Then all of a sudden, he's essentially like a prostitute to her. Like,
more or less.
She invites him into her bed when she feels like it, and then sends him on his merry way. And
let's talk about the sexism note to that, because I feel like
I like that
was
aspect.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, because now she's finally, she's finally, and that's the thing. And this is where I was saying, she is someone you can empathize with as a villain, because you're kind of like, yeah, fuck the patriarchy. Tell him to get on it. Yeah, tell him. And you're like, wait a minute, what? Because you just said, like, am I the villain? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, wait a minute.
You're like,
are we
read her point of view, and you're like, you're
right.
like,
well, because Jonas's intention was to use her initially, and now she gets to use him. He gets to use the hell out of him for whatever he is worth, which apparently is a good time. Good for her,
I guess.
Who knows?
Because
was
remember,
she tasting
you said
colors?
that Jonas, if he was going to be cast, he would have been cast as the Sons of Anarchy guy. And I'm just saying, I don't disagree, because I feel like you're right. The way he keeps getting described, like, Jonas is not a bad looking dude. That's a good looking dude.
No, he is, absolutely. And I didn't anticipate that one bit. I love it, because he gets his shit in place. You can't act out. You're literally a pawn of the Queen now, and you were trying to enact all this revenge, and now he has to figure out a way that he can do what he wants, which is get revenge for Scylla, or on Scylla, but he has to do it within the means of what the Queen allows. So he doesn't have freedom anymore. And
what do we think is going to happen in book 4 with that storyline?
So
I'm like, I read that and I was like,
I honestly don't know with the ending.
No,
with the entire ending. So okay, we'll hop to the ending, and then we'll talk more about, because we've talked a lot about Jonas and the Queen. We also have to talk about Scylla's storyline. But let's hop to the ending. There's a lot.
Krykta and the Mist and the whole thing.
So much in this book.
Pegasus horses. We've got Wonder Woman over here. We've got the island of Wonder Woman over here, like up there which I need a map. This is where I needed a map, because I was like, how far away are they? There's horses flying over here. We finally save, because the Bear King comes, his son, and Saga's like, yeah, good luck to you, because he's going to kill y'all. And his dad is like, no, they're not going to do that. His brother's like, no, they're not going to do that.
Brother was so annoying.
Cass's brother's like, they're not going to do that. And we're not going to trust you. And you're just like, you don't know anything. And she's like, I just lived my entire life with them. And I'm agoraphobic. So I obviously have no idea like who these people are. I've never left that castle my entire life. But sure, you guys must know all of it. So yeah, by all means, figure it out.
I like how finally it always takes too late. By the time the fucking armada is at their door with their boats and they're raining fire onto their fort, that they're like, wait, okay, we believe you now. It's like, yeah, believe me when I tell you to believe
but then
me
she's
in the
like,
first place.
Now I have to run out to this barn and go talk to this horse that has been restrained, who no one can fly.
As soon as I saw the horse
by anyone. Oh yeah, I knew.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I was like, oh, that's hers.
Horse.
That's her horse. Yeah, that's Saga's horse, because she's gonna have to get up on. She's gonna calm him. That's her horse.
She's gonna have to
not just know where the horse was gonna go. I mean, we had an idea.
Nation of the Flying Women.
Yeah. Yes.
To rally the troops. And like 3 chapters, let's rally the troops.
But I did like that they weren't immediate. It was like over a couple chapters, but I did like they were immediate. They were immediately like, let me capture her. We don't know about this one. This just seems very sus.
But then they're like, oh wait, you tamed the horse that cannot be tamed. Okay, cool. The horse knows. Yeah. I guess we, the women of the horse, will go with you. So I like how her
so many story arc happening.
Well, I like how her story arc, she goes from literally crippling anxiety, cannot leave outside, and even at the castle, coming from the boat to the castle, and she's still struggling with that, to I'm gonna fly on a fucking horse and take down the Bear King's troops.
There were not a lot of options.
No, there were not. There were not. They were struggling a bit. Even with, I like how it also played on her brain, because she is so fucking smart, and how strategy is really important in war. And Demi plays a lot into that, where a lot of times in this culture, brute strength is what's more admired, but with characters like Scylla and Saga, especially Saga, strategy is oftentimes what keeps you alive. So with her having the barrels of oil and lit them on fire and all that stuff, I really enjoyed reading their storyline for sure. And then we have Hecla and Scylla's storyline, how they converge together, and then they're on the mission with the tree and to find the tree with the mist and to find the tree
and
spirit.
Ray's like, what the fuck is this squirrel doing here? And she's like, just chill, everybody just relax. And Ivan's like, yeah, it's just a squirrel. And they're all like, what?
There was literally a it was very much almost a Disney princess reference. How I'm pretty sure in the South there are princess stories about this talking animals. Yeah, there would be. And so that whole storyline wouldn't make sense without Roots of Darkness, because Scylla,
you would be like, you wouldn't understand
what is this
squirrel. Plus you'd be really confused about the Ivan Gunnar thing as it continues. You wouldn't really appreciate,
which is childish.
The ridiculousness.
They are so childish, literally pouring water and they're
they can't even be next to each other. Ray's like having to separate them like children. You guys need to be
they're
apart.
Little teenage boys.
And Heckle's like, what the fuck? You guys need to get it together.
We're trying to save the world here. Can you?
Yeah, literally. Can
you stop having pissing contests?
Me, thank you. Yeah.
But then let's talk about how that storyline, crazy. So these 3 storylines are happening.
Right.
3 major ones. So in Isildur, we have Hecla, Scylla, Ray. They're trying to figure out what the fuck's going on in the mist, and they ultimately go into the Western Woods.
Scylla's trying to fight the god that's eating her body, basically.
The god incarnate goes into
who's in her body. Well, and that too. Yeah, he eventually goes. Yes, she's having issues with this.
Yeah,
and Ray's like, can I get this fucker out of you? Like, how do I get this guy out of your body? Like, what's going on? How do we get rid of this? Because this is
Yeah.
because she's thinking she's killing people. She's in her body.
Yeah.
So she's thinking
she,
she's this murderer.
Because he like takes over. It's like Venom. He like takes over, and her consciousness like
and
goes
she like
away.
blacks out. Right. And the way that I thought it was her too at first. So you got like, a murder mystery. You have the fucking
a horror.
You have a horror. You have the Pegasus queen who finds out she's like going to the Pegasus queen princess arc with Beauty and the Beast as well. And then, anything else? Oh, we have the queen.
I mean, we have our zombies. Yeah.
No, we have the other queen and Jonas with their warrior fighting ring. I mean, anything else?
The corpse bringers, which are like, there's some haunted elements to them.
There's so much happening in this book. It's so fun.
There's
it was so fun to read. I loved it. I was on the seat of my pants the whole every chapter. I'm like, where are we going? There, you know how sometimes when they break it up to like, so like if you tandem read, so for the TOG readers, right? So Throat of Glass, there's a lot of people who like do the tandem read of.
Well, I didn't do that.
No, I didn't either. But you know, they got really bored
with Tower of Dawn.
With Tower of Dawn, and
I like Tower of Dawn.
I did too, but anyway. So you have the people who are like really bored by that, or like really bored by like, oh my god, I can't wait until we're done. I don't care about these two people. Get back to the main two people. I did not feel that way about this book.
With anyone? No, not with anyone.
I wanted to know what was going on, with each one, and like, you know how a TV show does that really well, like, you know, like Vampire Diaries. No, that's not a great example, but it's one that like splits off, right? And so Game of Thrones, another one. You go follow different characters, and like each storyline, you're like, what's going to happen here? And do I care about it? With Game of Thrones, I cared about all of them. I wanted to know and that was this book for me, which is a testament to Demi Winters. Relax, we cared about all of them. So with Demi Winters, it's a testament to her ability to suck you in, that by now, especially if you read Roots of Darkness, you are bought in to the Scylla, Ray, Krikta, that whole Hekla situation. And I honestly feel like if you didn't read that book and then you went into Dawn of the North, you were solely focused on Saga's story, in my opinion. I felt like you were a lot more tied into like what happened with her, because you didn't have the love and appreciation for Hekla and Ivan and that whole situation. But
I agree. I
wanted to know about all of them. I was like, what's happening here? I need to know.
No, I definitely agree. I like how, because obviously they had to go to the tree, because remember the lore, there's the tree, the queen, the dragon, getting into that and having the world expand more, and there's more creatures, and Hekla finally has that more intimate moment with Ivan, and they come to terms with their shit, because Ivan really fully explains, like, hey, I'm not actually betrothed. It's a situational thing. It's not what it seems. Let's talk about the whole Ivan and his cousin storyline, where you want to like his cousin, you're getting close to him, because remember, Scylla's trying to be queen, and it's only to bond all of the northern clans so they can finally attack,
so that they can get through the mist.
And the way I was like, yes, the North lives on, and that's the whole Game of Thrones reference. I'm like, yes, the North lives.
Massive.
So she's trying to bond all of those clans, and she's getting, because she's not a queen.
She's having to talk to like, each one. They're having to go to each one and be like, hey,
but
the fucking
she doesn't know,
is coming.
Right.
No,
but she doesn't know how to be that. And she has to learn. And then you have Tala, who's like trying to help her the entire time. And then you have
and they have Mirkor in her brain who's like, tell him that you're gonna take over and that we're gonna kill all of our enemies. And you're like, what the fuck, bro?
The way Venom.
Relax.
I was like, Venom. But then
so our girl's just getting like, inundated with terrible advice left and right.
Exactly. And then we have Ray's cousin also that's there, that's like trying to tell her how to do things and trying to be nice. And him and Scylla also had a drink and they had a fun time. I was like, whoa, where's this storyline going? I'm sorry, you're having wine with this man and he's nice and Ray never talked to you. Ray didn't send you letters. I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? So there's a lot of tension going on with that whole storyline.
Yeah, because Ray and Scylla are separated for a time. And because he's trying to go gather to like help her and spread the word and also get the Blood Axe crew back together. And so she's by herself in this storyline for some time. And Tala, that bitch, is over here doing her thing. I'm like, girl. And
did you guess? Did you know?
By the time I didn't guess it. I was really thinking, I thought that it was the god and that was like taking over her. I really didn't think that there was like an outside person for the longest. And then I finally, as it got revealed, started to piece it together to like reveal. It was obvious by then that it was her. So I wasn't shocked by then. But no, I didn't figure it out for a while. For a while, I just didn't figure it out. I wasn't like, oh, it's definitely her right out of the way or anything. I thought it was pretty well written.
I thought so too, because I didn't. Once it was revealed, I was like, oh yeah, that makes all the sense. That makes perfect sense.
I also wasn't looking for it.
No.
Because again, you have a mystery, you have a horror, you have a high fantasy princess moment, you have a battle going on, you have the animals are talking, you have the vampire deer, you have shadow daddies. What else do you want? Then all the love and the spice and like what? Then the political intrigue with the queen and like the fighting game thing. I mean, there's so much happening that I wasn't even like on the bandwagon of, oh, we have a murder mystery we have to figure out. Like I didn't even, it was.
No, and then we have to figure out. And then you like, Scylla's like making a bargain. And then Scylla's making a bargain with a god. How can I out trick a god? It's like, okay, we're gonna sit in the moonlight.
We're focused. Yeah, we had a lot of things to focus on. So I think if it was just that, I would have figured out it was Tala. But because we had so many other elements of the story and so many other points of view, that you're not only looking at that point of view. So it's hard it was hard for me to like zone in on. I cared about it and I wanted to know, but I wasn't really like, oh, is this a murder mystery? It didn't read that way on page.
Fair.
But then you have the dick measuring contest between between Ivan and Gunnar. And there's this one section where Ivan says to Hecla, and I quote, "Fair maiden of the slaughter arm, let me plunder thy golden ring with my battle spear." Ivan snorted. "Battle spear? One-eyed serpent of the breeches, the boar sword, hammer of thy seed." And I highlighted this because I was dead. It's like, oh my God. Like,
that was before that. He was given advice because someone in their group was like, you know what women like? Women like it when you tell them poetry. Tell them poetry. Yeah. And then the way Hecla's like, oh,
now it's his poetry.
Please, God, no.
She's like, what? What's happening? Yeah. I mean, and that's married to like 2 chapters later, you know, it says like fear is a thing to be felt, not obeyed. I mean, this is just such a badass story. And by the time you get to this, book 3 is just, it's like the meat and potatoes. We're finally here. Like we worked so hard to like get through these books, and you're not even getting through them because I enjoyed all the books leading up to this.
Right.
But you get to this book and it just really the pieces really start to come together. And we start realizing like collectively now we've got to go back to Isildur. Everybody's got to go back to the same place. And now we've got to get rid of the queen. And so book 4, I think we're really going to start to tie in to how we're going to do that, where all the magic and elements are going to start to converge. The fact that Scylla and Saga can talk and mind speak. All these different elements, I think, is what we're going to see start to tie in here. I think finding out who Ivan was and his love to Hecla, what that's going to look like. I think we are, based on our Demi Winters interview, which we can't talk about. We can talk a little bit about it, but I think we're sleeping on a couple members of the Blood Axe crew that we might not want to be sleeping on. And we're going to find out a little bit more about them in book 4. There's one in particular who is quite literally doesn't speak at all. So why does she keep getting brought up and into this? She's the other female member of the Blood Axe crew. She's a total badass. And she talk about trauma. I think we're gonna get a lot more of her. I know in book 4, and I'm really excited for that. And so I don't know. What did you think? Like, going into ending this book, where did we fall, and what were our thoughts overall?
I want to know. I don't even know what the fuck's gonna happen. So we have Scylla and Saga. They're finally reunited, and that reunion was amazing. And how we have 2 toucher and die males meeting each other for the first time. So Cassandra and Ray are gonna be fucking hilarious, and because Cassandra doesn't give a fuck, and how they're married. Let's not forget that Cassandra and Saga are married at this point in time.
Married. Yep.
And
happily,
then
yeah,
very happily married. At first it was like not so much, but then they fall in love, and I love that storyline. And then Ivan has a big personality, and Ray has a big personality. So a lot of big personalities here, and who knows what other big things they have. Then we have them finally converging together, and then we have Signy, who not only has Jonas as her right hand whore. Signy also killed the king. That ending, I was like, use the hell out of me.
Yeah, she's the one who killed him.
Yeah, and I do love that she's the one that killed him, not his favorite whore. And how that came out of left field is when the prostitute showed up, I was like, okay, this is a weird way to end the book. I don't feel like something's about to happen. And how she pulled a knife on him, and then Signy's like, oh, the only thing bad is that you can't have good help nowadays. And then she kills him. Okay, I like how you got that because he's your source of trauma. But now, so she's just queen, and it's just her. And how's that gonna look? Is she going to need to have to marry to have like a strong a strong like political? Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
Cersei wouldn't have married anybody either in Game of Thrones. No,
she let her little shit,
and then she was like,
"Son,
no,
take over." Fucking Joffrey.
Then once all her kids were dead, she was like, no.
Yeah, that's fair. She still has one child though, so I feel like even though her son isn't of age yet, he's still young. I wonder if he would step into that role, and she would have to be a queen consort.
She's like queen regent right now.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But I feel like even if her son, it's gonna be a Joffrey situation. If her son steps in, she's gonna be the one pulling the strings anyways. She's like the real power there. So obviously there's gonna be some battle action because Signy, let's not forget, Signy also has Galder. This has completely been like, with everything going on, like she literally can like mind read, mind manipulate. Like we don't know what type of mind manipulation she can do because we know that Saga can take away pain. She can manipulate emotions and people's minds. We don't know what the queen can do, but she has power. She has magic, which is very surprising. And after
Scylla's
King
come
of Claw,
into her
we didn't really do that
as well.
No, I'm not entirely sure. And then the Pegasus come out of nowhere.
Do you think the queen could turn coat? I think she hates him too much. I don't think she'd be willing to give up her power.
Oh no. And even if she didn't believe in this bear god, which I don't think she did, I don't feel like she's like fully sold on the bear god. I think that was just what her husband is. But there's too much power there. Way too much power, and Scylla and Saga represent the undermining of her power because they're the true heirs.
And a prophecy.
Right? So they have to battle it out. There's going to be this huge war, and it's going to be a rallying of the South versus the North.
Yeah.
And whatever other creatures come across. We still have to find the other tree spirit. We didn't find the other tree spirit. So we found one tree. Right. Apparently it's not the right tree. We need to find the other tree. Then there's a dragon. There's a dragon. Yes. Whose side is the dragon on? Because I feel like that's very important. Is this gonna be? I feel like it's gonna be less fourth wing dragon, more like brimstone dragon. Yeah, more like big badass. They're not your friends. Dragon. We are good.
And they have their own agendas.
We sleep in a mountain.
Puny human things are of no relevance to us.
No. But they will make it of relevance, apparently. somehow. Yeah. So I feel like the queen is going to try to have the dragon on her side. I feel like the dragon's going to influence where the war is gonna go.
Good observation.
Then we have the undead. We have the undead and the mist. Is the mist fully gone at this point in time? Even though it's kind of the
Not
mist
until
attacked
we get the other tree lady.
Because the mist attacked, right? And like in Roots of Darkness, the mist attacked and they escaped. But does that mean the mist is fully gone? How do you kill particles?
I don't know, but it's a good segue into our Down the Rabbit Hole segment. Because I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know that we talked to Demi Winters next week, and that will conclude our ASHEN series coverage. And it was a lot of fun talking about it. So
yeah, it was.
All right. Tonight's Down the Rabbit Hole, if you guys recall correctly, some of you may recall, Michelle, I know she does recall. We talked about Reese Witherspoon a couple weeks ago and the impact of AI on the bookish community. We've talked quite a bit on AI art and artwork. And honestly, we're guilty of, we posted, it's been over a year, but we did originally post some AI artists back in the day. And I think it, due to our own ignorance, we didn't really fully realize kind of what this thing has become. We haven't posted anything in over a year, but I do think it's worth noting that we need to come back to the Reese Witherspoon thing because she's gotten since then a shit ton of heat for this whole situation because it came out unbeknownst to us at the time and many people after her post that originally what we had discussed about a couple weeks ago, that she runs through one of the colleges through Hello Sunshine. She actually has a course about AI and is a major contributor to a specific AI where her coursework teaches you how to use said AI. So the innocence of her post, which was, let's learn together. I want to know more about it because it's my kids are learning about it. And, you know, the innocence of, it's going to happen anyway. And we should be prepared for the fact that we don't want to be the only, we don't want to be the women who are left out. We want to make sure that women are still at the forefront of technology and the whole argument there. And she's making a smoothie as she's doing this. It really read very staged after everything else came out. And it was pretty bad on Reese Witherspoon. She eventually came out and did a story and said in her stories, oh my gosh, well, I guess a lot of people saw my AI thing. I really genuinely am trying to know and understand it. All of this. That's what she kind of said. I struggle to think that Reese Witherspoon, of all people, who likely doesn't even run her own Instagram, I would be shocked if she runs her actual page, didn't know the video she was making and also by default didn't realize that she had her own interests in AI and also didn't realize that she has classes that are part of Hello Sunshine to teach how to use AI. I'm very surprised by that. It seems like a money grab. It seems very planned and coordinated now in hindsight. So I think that it kind of changes the way I felt about it and how we originally discussed it. We were discussing it as moms and as moms who are still working and how AI just realistically, even in education, is everywhere. And how did we perceive that when we first discussed this topic? But now coming back, it's become something very different. It becomes a money grab and where is she invested in and what is she sold to? And now is she really for the bookish community and for authors? And on that segue, Barnes & Noble, within the same week or two, has also had their CEO say something and then rescinded based on AI. Because there was a boycott. So the AI written books that were going to be allowable at Barnes & Noble sparked a absolute outcry. The CEO a couple weeks ago had said that they're going to start allowing AI books. And the way the book community said, what the fuck are you talking about? And lost their shit. Let's talk about it, Michelle. What are your thoughts and feelings on all this?
So obviously Reese Witherspoon, with her, when I saw that she had AI courses, I'm like, you were definitely manipulating. It was a manipulation post to get people to try to buy into AI, try to get into her courses. And the fact that she like, oh, I'm truly trying to understand. No, honey, you're not. You have to, with someone of her caliber and someone of her intelligence, she definitely understands where her company is, where her money is, where all of that is. I find that very hard to believe. On that note, my stance on AI I still stand by what I said about AI in general. I think it is a tool. I think it needs to be used as a tool. I don't think it should take over people's creative arts. It can be used to be very helpful in certain aspects of jobs. When we edit videos, we use it. When you have adaptive text, you use it. So it's very much integrated into our modern lives. It should
and
not
let me be clear that using as a tool in what we do is it generates a script of what we've said. It doesn't take what we've said. It doesn't take an idea that we've created. It doesn't determine the content we're going to push. It doesn't do anything creatively for us. Nothing. It
just helps us find where to edit.
Yeah, that's all it does. And that's what we talked about this before. Ben Affleck's startup was an AI tool on the back end that helps to clean up editing. That's exactly what his AI tool was for. To help with lighting or help with back end editing. It doesn't impact the creative process at all, although some would argue that editing is a creative piece in the filmmaking world. But in our podcasting world, there's a very stark difference between you and I could very easily be replaced fully and have been. And this is the big concern for the audiobook community that, you may as well. The folks that work on these audiobooks that are incredible voice actors and talents have people commenting, no joke, that, you're going to be replaced by this AI, so you shouldn't fight it so hard. You should know that it's like a dead end job. I'm just like, the audacity.
Right.
The audacity.
Right.
And I don't think that, but like you're okay with not having a real person? Like that's fine with you?
I don't think AI will ever come to that level. I don't think it can come to that level. I
think it's going to be our choice.
And AI, the way it functions is it's adaptive based on human experience and what humans have put out there. It doesn't take away. It needs something. It needs something human generated to function off of. It just regenerates based on ideas that humans have put out there. It can't function on its own. But I don't know. I hope it never takes over the creative space. It shouldn't take over the creative space. I think the way people reacted to Barnes and Noble's stance on AI books is valid. Like people spend years.
And let me read you his exact quote. So James Dodd appeared on the Today Show with Jenna, and Jenna has her whole books world, and he said, quote, "I have actually no problem selling any book as long as it doesn't masquerade or pretend to be something it isn't. So as long as an AI written book says that it's an AI written book, then we will stock them." It basically got blasted completely. He's said he will only sell redacted his statement, then went to say Barnes and Nobles will sell AI generated books if there is clear demand, and will not ban reputable books published by reputable publishers, even if AI generated. These books should be published, labeled, and be clear evidence of customer demand. So he thinks that there will be very unlikely demand for AI generated books, or that reputable publishers would publish them. So he's not just going to be looking for AI books out there. He's looking for publishers that are going to push them forward to them to stock their shelves with. So very different messaging that he's changed, to your point.
Right. And well, Barnes & Noble's a company, right? Their whole goal is to make money. And his first comment was like, well, if AI books are going to make me money, then I'm going to put them out. And then he realized, wait, I'm going to lose a lot of money, so I'm going to change the tune of my song.
Yeah.
So it completely diminishes, AI books diminish real authors' work. We just talked to Sheila Masterson, and it took her 3 years to work on The Poison Daughter. And someone can generate a book in a couple of sentences into an algorithm and still generate that sort of money. It's not fair. So I love that the bookish community was like, no, we need to protect our authors. And I hope it do not take over the space at all. So
no, or artwork for that matter, or anything.
Yep, agreed.
And I think that's where it comes to making the boycotting choice to deliberately not choose AI in any of the creative spaces that you're working in. There's the deliberate choice by many other authors, etc., who say, I'm not going to use AI. And I think it's very difficult because the irony is Instagram, social media, they're all just desperately trying to shove it in your face.
Right.
You have all these different tech companies and mainstream companies that are like, use our AI tool because it's going to help you do X, Y, and Z. It's almost unavoidable. And it goes to show, like, where are we going to, in 5 to 10 years with this thing, what happens without regulation? Right. We go with this. You know, we already have, on that note, you know, there were Disney creators for Marvel that have just, artists, the Disney artists were just laid off and told that they're being replaced by AI. AI tool that Disney uses internally took all of their Marvel artists' art collectively, taught it how to create the same type of way, and fired them.
That's wild.
That's a fact. What do we do now that people are now losing jobs because of this thing? And I'll tell you what, the corporation mindset is going to be what impacts our bottom line, what helps the shareholder.
It's money. It's ultimately money for them. Disney now doesn't have to pay those people and can produce a similar product. So
yeah. It just, that's like we said, for Down the Rabbit Hole segment, I wanted to recap and touch on what Reese had said in a follow-up. I wanted to make sure that we are relevant to the things that are happening in the bookish community, and this just can't be overlooked. The fact that AI is here and doesn't seem to be going away at any time. I think the only option we have as consumers is to push back and say, hey, we're not buying it. We will not be buying that. And I think that we can see that there has been a positive response where Barnes & Noble's redacting their statements. Oh, never mind. Reese Witherspoon saying, wait, yeah, maybe I didn't mean it like this, or I did. The fact that they're at least rolling back some of their statements is enough to show that, hey, we do have a voice, and as a consumer, we have a choice to make in what we buy and what we support. But my fear is, I think eventually AI could get so good that we can't tell the difference. And that's where I'm concerned with regulation. If we don't start to heavily regulate and say, no, you need to say if AI helped you write this, you need to say if you did X, Y, and Z, because how else are people going to know? I think that's just, there are a lot of Instagram accounts that are completely AI that never label themselves as such.
No, of course not.
That look like real people. Can't even tell. It's crazy.
Right.
I just think that what's going to happen over time is that's just going to get worse and worse. And it's deeply concerning. So it's something to watch. And I think we'll probably likely bring it up in another Down the Rabbit Hole segment to come. But that's the latest with it. So let's get on to something happier.
All right. So now it's time for Mystery Q&A. These questions have not been shared with either of us prior to asking. So my question to you is, and this kind of stems to this past weekend, me and my daughter went to Bath and Body Works and spent an hour smelling all the things because we were trying to kill time. And I'm like, you know what? Let's not go to Ulta. I'll save money. Bath and Body Works is not money saving. So that was a mistake on my part.
Like, how did that work out? Yeah.
My question to you is, what is your signature summer scent that you just always like to have, either in a candles, hand sanitizer, anything that you just, you know?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I kind of like the fresh laundry or like the water themed scents around this time.
Okay.
I'm not really big into I know they'll have a lot of candy themed scents or really overly sweet scents for summer. That's not me. I'm much more of like a beach earth based scent.
Like sandalwood.
Yes, I love a good sandalwood, maybe a lily, something like that. Lighter. Yeah. What about you?
Okay. I'm the same way in terms of sweet. Sometimes their vanilla is like too sweet, or I don't think anything dessert based. It's just, I don't know. It smells
Overwhelming.
yeah, it's too artificial.
That too.
But for summer, I like a good pineapple coconut. Like something more fruity. They have like this papaya candle that I got. It just smells so good. It smells like summer.
Nice.
So I like more fruity, but sometimes if they add like fruit cake, it becomes too much. It still has to be a little bit more on the subtle side. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's great. I guess my question would be related to, I was going to go with something related to hair products. So last week I asked you, what's your absolute must-have for your face? This week, what is your most must-have either tool or like product for hair?
So I don't really have tools for my hair because my hair is dead straight. Because I'm half Asian, my hair doesn't hold a curl, and it doesn't do much. So I have to borrow my daughter's hairbrush because my hair doesn't really knot. So she has curlier hair. So I don't really have a tool. But because I am almost 6 months, by the time this episode airs, I'll be 6 months postpartum. And hair fallout is real. So I've been using Pantene serum to hopefully get my hair back. So that's what I've been using. We'll see. Because I don't know yet. So that's what I've been using pretty religiously now, just to hopefully get some more stuff or get some more hair growth. I have been using hair masks though regularly also. So this
I love a good hair mask.
Fun fact, breast milk is very moisturizing to your hair. And sometimes leftover
Michelle, not all of us have
access.
access.
Drink.
Go on Facebook Marketplace. Just kidding.
I know.
Don't go on Facebook Marketplace. It was a joke.
Well, if my son doesn't finish a bottle, I'm like, I can't do anything with it. So I just repurpose it into a hair mask because it's already been contaminated. So that with some oatmeal, some avocado, or some egg white, and just kind of lather it in the hair. It's also good for your face because oatmeal reduces redness. That's what I've been doing. Just surviving over here because the hair loss is awful. That's mine.
Yeah, I remember.
What's yours?
So I really like a good dry shampoo. And right now, R & Co. or R Plus Co. I really like that brand a lot. But I also have recently been doing this, like you put your hair in it, you hit the button and it curls it. I had it sitting on my counter after Christmas until like, I don't know, March of this year was the first time I tried it. So for 4 months, I just sat there and looked at it every morning when I was getting ready for work. And
I was like it?
Not ready for that. I was terrified. I was having like a very, very millennial, very out of body, very Final Destination feeling about the whole thing. I was like, I'm going to put my hair in this thing and then my head will explode or something, which is not logical. But
millennial trauma. That's okay.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm not using this thing ever. But no, so I started using it and I really like it. But the thing is you can't like raw dog it. You got to put some product in your hair. You got to have something in there. So I like this R & Co. like heat preventative stuff because my hair will burn and it's pretty thick. But yeah, I have never been very good about doing my hair. I've only recently like learned to curl it probably in the last 5-ish years. I've never been like good at any of that. So it's been a fun journey to try this thing out because I am the least able-bodied hair curling person you would ever meet. It's not happening. I'm much more of a scrunch it at the bottom.
Yeah.
With the gel stuff, the soft curl. I have a stuff cut. It's on Amazon. It's called Miss Jessie's. And it's the curl. You put it in after you get out of the shower and you just scrunch it or whatever. Good to go. So I like that. But also I'm going to try and curl this thing. Also, I've had the same tree straightener. Let me knock on something before this thing dies. I've had this tree straightener. Oh my God. I think I've had the same cheese hair straightener since it's got to be like 2010, something like that. Yeah.
Wow. I have the same hair curler that I've had since high school, and I don't use it because my hair doesn't curl. My daughter's
the
does.
cheese straightener I probably use, I don't know, a couple times a month at least.
Nice.
I try not to use heat products as often because I let your hair up, but
for sure.
Anyway, that was my question for you.
All right. Before we wrap up, let's talk about what's coming up next on Book Club After Dark.
Yeah, next week we have our Demi Winters interview, which was really exciting because she's a fantastic person to interview. She had so much to say. It was lots of fun. And we're really excited to talk about book 4 a little bit more in detail and just Demi Winters and her process. It was really fun to interview her.
So much fun.
And we can't wait to share this interview with you.
And don't forget, we want to hear from you. If you have thoughts on the ASHEN series or suggestions for future reads, drop a comment below or message us on one of our social media platforms at Book Club After Dark Pod. Show us your fan art theories or anything bookish you'd like to share.
You can also visit our website, bookclubafterdark.co, stay up to date on our cozy content, or check out our merch.
That's all for tonight. Sleep tight, night owls. Until next time, happy reading.